Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. We continue our thermodynamic lesson again. Now we look at the effect of temperature on the spontaneity of the reaction. Okay. This table summarizes the three parameter: enthalpy change, entropy change, and Gibbs free energy change, together with the temperature dependence. Yeah. So, if the enthalpy change is negative, entropy change is positive, normally we always get uh, delta G negative. Kalau kamu kira dua-dua ni, kamu akan dapat delta G negative. So the reaction outcome, the reaction is spontaneous at all temperature. Negative temperature ke, positive temperature ke, you will have a spontaneous reaction. The reaction does not depends on the temperature. Okay. If you have a positive enthalpy change, negative entropy change, again, opposite to the first one, yeah, delta G, always positive. So reaction is non-spontaneous at all temperature. Tak kisah you panaskan ke, you sejukkan ke, it's still non-spontaneous. We need to find another ways to make it react. Yeah? If delta H, enthalpy change negative, and entropy change also negative. At low temperature, delta G will be negative. At high temperature, delta G will be positive. So reactions will become spontaneous at low temperature, but it's become spontaneous at non-spontaneous at high temperature. Yeah. So the reaction is depend on temperature. If you want to make it react, you need to decrease the temperature. If you want to make it stop, you need to increase the temperature. Okay. And opposite to this one, if you have positive enthalpy change, positive entropy change, at low temperature, delta G will be positive. At high temperature, delta G will become negative. So reaction is non-spontaneous at low temperature, but spontaneous at high temperature. Kalau you letak dia kat tempat sejuk, dia tak bertindak balas. If you put it at high temperature, it will react. Yeah? So it is temperature dependence. Okay, so look at this one. Yes, spontaneity of reaction depends on temperature only for same sign of delta H and delta S. But for different sign of delta S and delta H, for same sign, yeah, positive, negative, negative, positive, positive, it depends on temperature. For opposite sign, it will not depend on temperature. Yeah, this one is based on the equation delta G is equal to delta H minus T delta S. Okay. Okay. Determine the temperature at which a process is spontaneous. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. This one to look at the explain, to give us the understanding about table before. Yeah. Table yang tadi tu. Determine the temperature at which the process is spontaneous. We have two ways of solving this problem. Yeah. Method 1 or alternative 1, spontaneous delta G normally is for spontaneous reaction, delta G is normally less than 0, means that negative. Yeah. So if delta H of the system minus T delta S give you negative value, the reaction is spontaneous. But if give positive value, the reaction is non-spontaneous. Yeah. For method 2 or for alternative 2, first we can find the temperature at equilibrium, find T at equilibrium, yeah, where delta G is equal to 0. So we put delta G as 0, we find what are the temperature. Yeah? Arrange back this equation, find what is the temperature that can give us delta G is equal to 0. Second, determine delta G for lower temperature and for higher temperature. From number 1, this one. Delta G, using this equation as well. Then compare both value for delta of delta G for lower temperature and for higher temperature. Delta G is less than 0 at lower temperature or at higher temperature. So the recipe we know whether the reaction is spontaneous or non-spontaneous, or this one is more easier compared to method 2. So what are the tips? Alternative tips. Remember previous table and do it. We need to do try and error. Okay. Look at this example. For example, a reaction in which delta H is 199.5 kilojoules per mole and delta S is 476 joules per Kelvin per mole. So determine the temperature in degrees Celsius where the reaction is spontaneous. So reaction spontaneous means that delta G is equal to negative. You letaklah delta G is equal to negative. Arrange this equation. Okay. So you see, what are the temperature that can give us delta G negative. So this is the temperature that can give us negative delta G value. 145.97 degrees Celsius or 419.12 Kelvin. Okay. So this is the temperature where the reaction can be spontaneous. Okay, this is alternative 1. And this is the alternative 2. First, we find the temperature at equilibrium or temperature where delta G is equal to 0, which is 419.12 Kelvin. Determine delta G for lower than 419 ni. So, you ambil je lah satu. Sekejap. Okay. Ni for lower temperature. This is for higher temperature. Okay. So compare both value. Compare both value of delta G for lower and for higher temperature. And the reaction is spontaneous. Ataupun tak perlu dah. You dapat temperature of delta G, temperature where can give us delta G of is equal to 0. Means that the temperature lower than this will give spontaneous. No, sorry. Spontaneous or non-spontaneous kalau lower. Okay. So the reaction is spontaneous at temperature higher than this one. So normally kalau lagi panas lagi spontaneous lah. Tapi kalau lower than this, it will become non-spontaneous. Okay. This is another example. You can do it on your own. Okay. We have two alternatives. This is another practice exercise for you. Okay. Another example. Okay. So that's all for thermodynamic topic. Again, knowledge is power. Community is strength, attitude is everything. So kalau saya, knowledge is everything. If you want to success in dunia, you need to have a knowledge. If you want to success in akhirah, still you need a knowledge. Okay. So thank you for listening and Assalamualaikum.